For our lab 5 example 1, we're gonna use the phototransistor or the IR decoder connected to pin 11 in our Arduino. We're gonna press a button to turn on and turn off an LED. You can see here my configuration is the same one as the schematic. Now let's start with the coding. So the first thing that we need to do is to include the library for our decoder. So it's include and then IR remote. Remember that you need to install this library. Check the previous video in case you wonder how to do this. There's a video explaining how to do this. Then IR receive pin number 11, and that's because we're attaching our decoder to pin 11. As you can see here, it's connected to pin 11. Once we have that, we need to use a data structure that will save the code that it's being decoded. So it's type decode results. It's just a data structure. You can think about it like when you type int float chart. It's the same thing. So I'm gonna call it code. It's just a name for that type of data structure. And the first thing that we're gonna do is to print what we're getting from the remote. So type serial that begin 9600. Then we need to initialize the phototransistor. So it's I receive that enable IRIN. And notice that this name needs to match whatever you're calling it here. And after that, now it's time to go to the loop and see what we're gonna do when we receive data. So we're gonna make an if statement. If I receive that decode, so I'm gonna decode data. This means that I'm gonna check if there's anything received, and if I get anything, that will be saved into code. So I'm gonna send it to code, and now I need to open my bracket. So this if statement will be true when I press the button on any one of these remote and that data is being sent. It's gonna be saved into code. First, we're gonna try to see what we're receiving. So let's do serial.print, right, to sit in our serial console, code that value, because that's where the data is being saved, and then in hex format, so that we can visualize it instead of zeros and ones, which is gonna be a pain. Hex code, it's gonna help us with this. So let's select our port, give it a try, open my monitor. Okay, good. Now let's type 0. So as you can see, I'm receiving F6897. But you may notice that it's taking it forever, right? It's just looping there, it's getting stuck there. And if I press anything else, even though my receiver is blinking saying that it's receiving data, we cannot see it. And that's because once we read something, we need to let it read something else. So for that, we need to write one more line of code here. So we print it, and after that, we're gonna type I receive, needs to match here, that resume. So that will that's gonna let it decode only once, and then wait for another code to be received. So let's clear it. Let's type 0. Let's press 0. There you go. Then 2. So you notice how the code changes. That's hex format. Remember when we see F's, E's, AVs, that's hex format. So this is the code for 0. If I press 0, it's FF6897. for 5 would be FF38C7. Those Fs that you see here happen when you keep one key pressed. It will just send those Fs. So watch that. Just press it fast and release it so that you don't send overwritten data. So let's use the on and off code. It's FF825D. So when I get FF25D, let's turn on the LED. So I'm just gonna decode it. I'm gonna make a global variable. So let's define on off, which is that red button right here, as FF825D. But remember, since it's hex, we need to type 0x. That will make it hex format. And I'm gonna put this one here below just to have a little bit more of order. So let's first save that code, or let's check it, right, to see if that code is enough. So first I'm gonna check if I'm receiving data. Okay, if I receive data now, if my code value is equal to on/off, which is the hex code that I have here, let's turn on an LED. So digital write, and it's pin 11, right? Let's define that as well. So define LED as pin number 11. So we need to do pin mode. Don't forget it. Pin mode. LED as an output. Then when we press it, let's do LED and high. So as soon as I get these, I will turn on my light. Let me just comment this part out. So as soon as I press the on and off button and it's captured, we're gonna see it. And you know what? Let me just show it just to see what code we're getting here. So this if statement, even though it's just one line, I'm gonna put it like this so it makes sense. So if I get something, I'm gonna show it in my console. Then if my value is my red button on and off, I'm gonna turn on the LED, and then I'm gonna wait to receive something else. So let's test it. All right, let's open the console here. So first, let's try pressing 8. So nothing happens. Okay. And it's not showing it. Maybe I didn't upload it properly. Let me try it again. Okay. And my remote, it seems that my remote ran out of power. Otherwise, okay, let me just go back to before writing this. And oh my bad, it's because my LED is pin 11. Yeah, sorry, it's supposed to be pin 3, not 11. That's the problem. My bad. Good. So yeah, good. So look, I'm gonna press 8. It's not turning on. Press 0. Not turning on. Play. Not turning on. But when I press my on and off button, that turns on the blue LED. Good. Now, if I press it again, it's gonna keep that one on, right? So the thing here is that I want it to turn on and turn off. If I press it once, it's gonna turn it on. If I press it again, it's gonna turn off, but with the same button. So to do that, what we need to do is make a variable that will control the it will control the intensity. So it's gonna int. Let's just call count equal to 0. Now we're gonna do an XOR. So what we do here is that instead of high is 1, low is 0, right? At this point, I'm assuming that you understand that. So I'm gonna do count, toggle it with 1. This is logic. It's an XOR. So when you have 0 with XOR, 0 XOR 1 will give you 1. So when you have 0 and you XOR it with 1, it will be 1. So it'll go from 0 to 1. But then if you press it again, this 1 will be XORed with 1 and it will become 0. So it's just a logical way to play between 0 and 1 doing this. So let's give it a try. Okay, I'm gonna press it once, turn on. Right here you can see the code. I'm gonna press it again, turn off, turn on, turn off, on, off. And that's how LAT1 is supposed to look.